People have always been collectors. Anytime something new comes along, someone is collecting it. This is especially true for media. With bookworms going back centuries, having thousands of books in their own personal libraries. With music, there were audiophiles collecting hundreds of wax cylinders and records. Then, when television came along, people at home didn't have a format to record it in yet. All they had were audio tape recorders, which, while they couldn't record video, people still got to listen to their favorite shows after they aired.
Next week on The Twilight Zone, Mr. Ed Wynn stars in One for the Angels, playing an old pitchman who sells mechanical toys like this, but whose competition is Mr. Dutt. We hope you'll join us then. Thank you and good night.
Interestingly, this practice has led to hundreds of episodes only surviving on home audio recordings.
These three people will compete for cash prizes today on Jeopardy! And here is the star of Jeopardy, Art Fleming.
While there were some machines that could record video at home, like the 1963 Telcan video recorder, these are incredibly expensive. Even with Sony's 1971 U-matic, which became industry standard commercially, it was seldom used at home. It wasn't until the release of the Betamax in 1975 and the VHS in 1976 that a whole new kind of collector was being born: the tapehead.
Now!
Television was a brand new medium.
This new medium will open new horizons in education and entertainment to all.
The news as a moving picture was being piped directly into your home.
From apartment buildings to trailer camps,
Your favorite radio shows were sitcoms, and commercials were getting more and more creative.
television is now penetrating into every walk of American life.
The VCR was heavily marketed as a device that could record all of this so you could watch it later.
I've recorded my favorites. The best action, drama, sports, the best. Selectavision is the 4-hour video cassette recorder from RCA. Nothing you want to watch on television? There's always something good on Selectavision.
Let RCA turn your television into Selectavision.
As time went on, the tapes started getting cheaper.
$4.99.
More people were joining in on recording their favorite programs, and some people took this hobby a bit more seriously than others.
Hi there, I'm Ray Glasser, and this is our famous tour in color of my Betamax library.
A whole new community was growing rapidly. People began recording shows and news and anything that aired in their area on hundreds of tapes, numbered and cataloged by their own systems.
Some people think these are used to hold 30 pounds of tomatoes. Well, they're wrong. These are used to hold 24 Betamax tapes. This is the way that I organize the collection. Each tape has got a Dymo label on it with different color codes. TV shows such as this, or this one over here, are on a blue Dymo label tape. If I tape the show myself and I know when it was taped, I put the date down here on a smaller label in green. Movies are in red, and again, if I taped it here myself or a friend taped it, the date is in green. When I get a dub from somebody else and I don't know when it was taped, such as King Kong here from 1933, the label is centered on the Betamax label. So we have blue for TV shows, red for movies, and over here, any special tapes like Ray and Gary on Camera and my Star Trek bloopers are on a green label. This goes for the whole collection.
Collectors would network, meet at conventions, and when the internet came around, find each other via forums. The community was quickly splitting into even more communities: people that recorded cartoons, people that recorded the news, game shows, sitcoms, sci-fi. Many had their own specialties. By the 80s, they were trading tapes. Some areas only got certain stations. Some people missed recording something that they wanted, and if they knew a fellow tapehead, they could trade for it. A common practice in many collecting fields, but especially common with tapes. One of the most traded kinds of recordings are game shows, the majority of which have never been released on home video or available to stream. At the time, trading and recording was the only way to watch these old shows. Today, watching these same tapes that are uploaded on YouTube or traded digitally are still the only way to watch many of them.
It's a genre I've enjoyed as far back as I can remember. You know, you're drawn in, I think, at a very early age by the bright set colors and the flashing lights and the upbeat music. And just the excitement of seeing people win big. It just, you know, all draws you in, gets you hooked. Whole thing started actually when I was 17. After discovering the internet, this was late 1995, early 1996. Realized there was a whole community of game show fans out there like myself. many of whom traded videotaped episodes amongst themselves. So I invested in a second VCR, since had a handful of off-air recordings I had taped over the past decade or so. I also made a deal to trade some of my Commodore 64 game show game discs for a few tapes, and that was the beginning of that. I think it was a big deal, 17-year-old kid, to acquire the very first Barker-era Price is Right, along with the first regular hour show. Something and never thought get to see with my own eyes. Wheel of Fortune episode from the Chuck Woolery era was a slow, steady growth. People traded with regularly during the 90s and 2000s, so just kind of grew exponentially from there. Just had a slow but steady build up, and then, of course, where new things hit the circuit, so get my hands on those, get them out there among fellow traders, and you just never know what somebody might be sitting on. Yeah, it was certainly a challenge to lug a box of tapes around if you were bringing it to a friend's state. Yes, and famously, it got to the point where I actually mailed a box of tapes to my friend's house ahead of a planned visit, so wouldn't have to lug it around for half the trip, and also gave them a chance to sample some of what was in my collection. So it's definitely quieting down, Jake, but there's still an audience out there, some devoted traders, who keep it going and like to unveil certain shows. There's, definitely a market for it. As long as it's out there, I'm sure, like myself, will continue to keep acquiring new episodes, circulating those we have.
Even when the TiVo came out,
so you can forget VCR recording. TiVo's digital recording means no tapes, no timers, no worries.
Even when DVD was replacing tape trading continued to survive among the community well into the 2010s. Even some collectors who have been doing what they have for decades continue to trade on tape. Others have moved on to digital. But the process in digitizing their hundreds or sometimes thousands of tapes is a slow and grueling cycle. But as time keeps going, these collectors have slowly begun to let go of their collection, either due to old age, losing interest, needing the space, or just simply passing away. Many times, these tapes are thrown away, but other times they're donated or sold. As we keep going forward, more and more tapes are flooding landfills and donation piles. Seriously, they just keep coming. This leads us to the second life of a blank tape, to the second collector. Today, the tape collecting and trading community still exists, but in a slightly different format. While in the past it was to watch their favorite shows, many modern tape collectors, often in their 20s or 30s, collect them for commercials, bumpers, and other things that are not available by any other means. Some incredible things have been shared this way, like specials such as the virtual Ed Sullivan Show and the Star Wars Holiday Special, along with entire TV shows like Rubik the Amazing Cube, Bad Influence, Kid Video, The Jim Henson Hour, Muppets Tonight, countless others, not to mention the literal thousands of game show episodes that are still being uncovered to this day. Entire reputations have been built off tape collecting and digitizing, like Retro Ontario, the Museum of Classic Chicago Television, Game Show Temple, and many other collectors that upload thousands of hours of valuable footage with controversial watermarks. Tapes like this are found at thrift stores, bookstores, estate sales, or in massive lots on Facebook and Craigslist. Massive lots like this, thousands of tapes, sometimes have their own dedicated operations and collections, like the Oakley Tapes collection. Over 20,000 tapes from a Craigslist listing that are still being digitized. The scary part is that the Oakley tapes aren't that unique compared to the many other collections of eccentric tape heads that have thousands of tapes. Marion Stokes is the most famous example. But why do they do all of this? How is it done? Well, it depends on the person, but for a lot of people, it's just fun.
I do it because people are almost always interested in what I upload. And since I download stuff from other people, it's only fair that I share stuff back so that everyone can enjoy this hobby. Some people are in it for money or collecting or nostalgia and stuff like that. I enjoy nice comments when I upload something that a random guy on the internet has been looking for like 20 years. Finding stuff I like here and there is always a bonus, but it's helping out people in some way that's pretty great. There was one guy that said I uploaded something he had been looking for since he saw it broadcasted the first time in 1980. I've digitized 3,810 Betamax and VHS tapes as of June 22nd, 2025. I do about 12 to 20 a day now, maybe more if there are some short ones. My favorite discoveries? Anytime I find Adult Swim, 70s or really early 80s stuff. The Tat logo was a big score. I had people from all over messaging me about that one. Knowing it was the first time it had been seen on the internet was sick. Every tape head out there knows the weird little bump they get when they find blanks out in the wild somewhere. It's pretty cool to see stuff that was put on air 20 to 50 years ago, as if it was being aired again. In any capacity, in my opinion, tape trading has done plenty for preservation. There would be no way to see any of the stuff that was put on air some 50-odd years ago without it. Old broadcasts of any kind that only exist in our minds would not be visible without it today. It's super cool if you think about it. You can just share stuff back and forth. The joy that comes from seeing something everyone, or even just you, are interested in is kind of unmatched. Sitting with people you enjoy hanging around with, sitting in front of a virtual TV and getting nothing but stuff you don't care about, only to have a Family Guy and Adult Swim to pop up and everyone to go haywire is a one-of-a-kind thing. It's a pretty cool experience.
Anyone can buy a decent VCR and a capture card and hit record. There are people that do it for money, there are people that do it because they're looking for something super specific or because they want the clout for finding something that others have been looking for. But in the grand scheme of things, it seems for the majority of tape heads, even the ones that have been doing it for decades, they're just doing it because they enjoy it. The context has changed a little now. Not only is it fun, but you're preserving history too. Advertisements aren't usually cared for academically like much other media is. For many commercials, tape transfers are the only instance of their existence online or sometimes anywhere. Tracking down the master copy is incredibly difficult or sometimes impossible. That goes for all media, really. Ironically, the VHS tapes that go for hundreds of dollars online are worth hardly anything historically. These tapes, the ones that get shoveled away and destroyed and donated to Goodwill, these are the tapes that are actually worth saving, because sometimes they're the only copy we have left, and we have tape heads to thank for saving them.